Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. Daps.
I'm Katie.
Bones recently found at Seymour Island dictate that 37 to 40 million years ago, penguins stood at an impressive height of 6 feet and roughly 250 pounds.
That's not that recently, though, is it?
Recently.
Like 6 months ago recently, right?
It's pretty recent.
I've read this.
Yes, it's
I knew this.
Recent. The other option is 37 to 40 million years ago, so...
You know all penguin news as it happens. I wouldn't be surprised if you had a Google alert for penguin news.
I don't, but that's a good idea.
You should do that.
Keep going.
And I'm Cameron. You should go to the Twitter and use the hashtag Geeks Corner to talk to us about penguins, as well as anything else we're talking about tonight. It's going to be a lot of stuff.
Woo!
First off, we're going to drop something in that was just announced tonight. Illuminations Reflections of Earth will be ending its run at Epcot on September 30th. Did I get that right? And the new Epcot Forever show will be starting the next day.
Yeah.
And that will be exciting. We don't have a lot of details on it, but there'll be more on the website probably by the time.
There's flying kites that can do rainbow maneuvers.
I don't know what that means, but that's awesome.
It's literally...
And the way you said it was interesting, too.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it will be very cool. Yeah, I think it'll be really fun. And I can't wait to see the new one. Yeah. And sad to see the old one go.
Yeah.
The temporary one, though.
It'll run for 1 year.
You know, I'm really excited about the new album from the Flying Kites. Rainbow Maneuvers looks really good. It's going to sound amazing.
It is a ripoff of the Muppets,
it goes up to its highest heights.
So we did a Muppets reference, a Mary Poppins reference, and a fictional band reference.
Yes.
Love it. That was very on brand.
Yeah, that was very good.
It was very on brand.
Yeah, let's go somewhere else now.
Oh, we're
and over the weekend, we went to Northern California for a conference, but
that was the royal
we. The what?
That was the royal we, by the way.
Okay.
It's fine.
Anyway, while we were up there, we went to Pixar, we went to the Walt Disney Family Museum, we went to...
Kind of went to the Walt Disney Family Museum. We're waiting on Bailey to tour with us.
I lost my
It's okay.
flow.
I was
I had
clarifying.
This really, I don't know what else we did.
He was using diphthong triplets. It's kind of the mumble rap thing where you just kind of get going.
Yeah, and then if
exactly
someone...
what it is. And then you stop, and then somebody picks it up, and it's great. And we drove in a minivan.
We did.
And it was a fantastic experience. And we had one of the most interesting lunches of all time. And you get to tell about it.
So Mr. Daps became the newest Avenger this weekend. Basically, we found this little hole-in-the-wall diner place. It was really fun, really good, really great food. I would recommend eating there, but...
Their parking lot sucks.
Parking lot is not so great! And we went to eat our food. And it's a very, very small little patio. And we are at the back of said patio. And Mr. Daps is looking out onto the parking lot where our van was parked.
If I could just interrupt your flow for a second, because that's what it did before.
Yeah.
But also, when she referenced back, she went upstage, theater kid.
Yeah.
So, go on.
That's very accurate.
Back?
You can tell I did theater for a very long time. Anyway, so we're about to eat our food. We had finally gotten it. Mr. Daps goes to unwrap his food. He goes to take a bite, which I think is my favorite part of this whole thing, is that he was mid, and then he goes, someone's trying to break into the minivan. I turn around. I see that there's someone slinking in between cars trying to break into our minivan because it had out-of-state license plates, and I'm sure we looked very touristy. I go to turn around. Mr. Daps is already gone. He has run. He's in the parking lot.
Might have pushed Kevin over.
He's running as fast as he can towards the minivan. Mind you, in a sweater and slacks.
T-1000 pose, hands, middle of the eyes.
I was the James Bond
and
man.
I'm texting him like, please don't die.
Like, I'm gonna check my phone as I'm running towards cars.
You did text me back, yes, but
anyway, keep going.
Anyway, I was like, please don't die. You don't know what's gonna happen. They see Mr. Daps running towards them, and they get the heck out of there. And our minivan was fine.
Mr. Rogers is gonna kill us.
That was pretty much it. The most amazing part about this whole thing is there was this guy in a Mustang, and the guy was just massive. Like,
parked right next to our minivan.
Yes, that watched the whole thing happen, and after I chased them away, he's like, dude, I'm sorry I didn't do anything, but I wasn't sure if it wasn't their van. And I'm like... Okay, sir.
So he's an Avenger now!
So I told him it was okay, and he didn't need to apologize. Favorite part of Pixar, real quick.
Oh my gosh. I know I said in the video that it was seeing the costume test for Bo Peep, but also the Forky
incarnations.
Yes, all of the developments of Forky and all of the possibilities, because they actually, of course, this Pixar, they actually made sporks and they all tested out.
Were they all sporks leading up to it?
Yes.
There are different versions.
Okay.
And, yeah,
but Forky conceptually was always a spork.
Yes. So they all decorated sporks of, in theory, what a child would make at a daycare or whatever. And so there was Forky with a cape. He had scarves. There was a Mike Wazowski one. It was amazing. But yeah, I think that was probably one of my favorites.
That was very cool. And I just like the lobby too. Or that
lobby's
big,
so cool.
huge thing that you can walk in. It's very cool.
Yes.
All right, let's keep moving right along. And Monsters at Work.
Yeah.
Is the
Speaking
new
of Pixar.
Monsters Inc. TV show that's coming to Disney Plus. And original voice actors are coming back, which is fantastic.
Also nearly impossible to do without, I would think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they have the voice act, because a lot of TV shows have used voice actors instead of the original talent.
The reason I'm mentioning it is because I'm coming off the Kingdom Hearts experience, and
True.
I don't think it hit like it didn't slap, as the kids say.
So we got
Did I use that
Billy,
right?
we've got
Yeah,
Billy
you did.
Crystal and John Goodman coming back. John Ratzenberger's coming back, of course.
He is also voicing a new character.
That's
John
even
Malkovich
better.
will be there.
Jennifer Tilly's returning. Bob Peterson's also returning.
Because Roz has a twin.
But here's the fun part.
Is it
I can't wait to
Foz?
see the twins.
Foz?
That'd be funny.
Rose.
Rose.
With an E.
Speaking of
Tika?
Rose, Kelly Marie Tran
Yeah!
will be
Weird
in this
segue.
In this!
That was perfect. I was like, that's where I'm going next. Then you opened it right up. Val Little is going to be in it as well. Henry Winkler is going to be in it, which is amazing.
Aisha Tyler's going to be in it, which I'm very excited
Yeah,
about.
there's a lot of really good talent that's going to be in this show. And so I'm just going to lead off. Like, I was like, oh, this would be cute before. Is it 6 months after
6 months after
the
it's
end of Monsters
getting
Inc.?
into the whole harvesting laughter and the monster comedian world.
So if I
Which is
wasn't
still
excited
Kingdom
about
Hearts
this
as
show,
well.
I'm more excited after the announcements today of the voice cast, because I just think
Agreed.
it's ridiculously good, and it's a good kickoff for Disney Plus.
I think also this is good, mostly because a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff is the same, not just the good voice acting, but a lot of the writers. And I will die on the hill of Monsters University being the funniest Pixar film.
It's so good.
It is the funniest. I'm not saying it's the best.
It's clever, too.
But it's so smart and very, 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 very funny. And there's a lot of that as far as talent that's involved in that. And so I'm very, very hopeful, because I think that would lend itself well to a series, not just a movie.
What do you think? Like, to me, I'm not overly worried about this, but they already kind of are in their happily ever after. What do you think is going to be the storyline / conflict?
Well, the storyline is that there's an up-and-coming monster who wants to be Mike and Sully. Like, he wants to be a comedian. He wants to be the next top
So it's Cheers for Monsters.
laugher.
And I don't.
Scarer?
I think that's going to be just fine, and I think there's an inherent built-in conflict in that this entire world has been based on the opposite of
And
what
they
they're
have
now
to figure out
functioning
the
in.
new way.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that lends itself to a serial as well, because
Yeah.
it's learning, its exploration, its growth.
I am interested to see if this will affect Monsters Inc. laugh floor in any way, shape, or form. If
That would
they
be cool.
maybe get some updates according to this series. I think
That'd
it'd
be
be
really
fun
cool.
if we got to see some new monsters show up at laugh floor. Yeah.
Or just update what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. I am very
Let's
excited
jump
that Kelly
to Twitter
Marie
because we
Tran-
alluded to the fact that we might.
Oh, we alluded.
Bailey said, I had a whole conversation with Katie Bear about the crew going to the Walt Disney Family Museum on Sunday. It warmed my heart that you guys thought of me.
Of course we
We
did.
did think of you, and it was very intentional. Penguins make everything better.
Not accidental.
Well,
We
no.
didn't trip and go, Bailey!
No, it was a, hey, we can't actually do this. Yeah.
I was very
Steven
clear.
says, penguins make everything better. I hope Thanos is defeated by a penguin. I do too.
Penguins were safe from this.
There are penguins in the MCU.
Steven also says, Mr. Rogers would be a respected and feared superhero, and he would insist you wait to fight until he could switch shoes and sweaters.
Absolutely, he would.
Stay right there, neighbor.
I like that. I wonder if that's going to be in the Tom Hanks
He
version.
also feeds the fish while he's like coming over to fight.
You're alluding to this just because it's connected. There's this thing circulating online right now. It's brilliant, of Mr. Rogers having a conversation with Thor, and just go, "That's a nice hammer you have there." is it heavy? And then Thor goes, oh, yeah, some would say it's very, and he just casually picks it up. Just like, this is a good life lesson, and goes this whole thing.
And I think that brings up a very important point, is that maybe Mr. Rogers should be the one picking up the hammer, since the actor behind Thor snuck his kid onto an attraction at Disneyland
with Snickers bars
in their shoes.
What?
That's a new one. I wish.
I've heard many a thing.
But then wasn't it amazing that he was shamed by
Yes!
RDJ came down on him hard.
Oh, yeah.
It was so good.
Didn't Scarlett Johansson too?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
ScarJo and RDJ.
Yeah.
They went hard. They were like, you can't do that. That's safety.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh.
And then Bob Iger gave them both raises.
And then Bob Iger gave them $100 and everyone stood up and clapped.
That Bob Iger, Albert Einstein.
Yes!
To continue on the tangential, just a note for you, and this is the more you know. Those height requirements on the rides are as low as humanly possible because they want as many people as possible to go on it to prevent people complaining as much as possible.
So shame on you, Thor.
Shame.
Bailey
I'm surprised Thor's the one that broke the rule, though.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
No.
Him or Captain America, I just wouldn't expect. Bailey has a question for you, Cameron. What do you think of the voiceover for Woody in Kingdom Hearts 3? Because that is Tom Hanks' brother.
Yeah. It's what is Tom Hanks' brother's name? Not Tom Hanks' brother. I want to say Tim Hanks, but that isn't right.
Mott Hanks.
It's Jim.
Not Hanks.
Jim Hanks.
Jim
Jim
Hanks.
Hanks.
Well,
Not Jim Neighbors.
I'm normally impressed with his work because he's done a lot of the voiceover work for Woody and other things, including some of the park stuff. I felt like the performance in Kingdom Hearts was a little bit flat, and there was a weird relationship between him and Buzz for the entirety of the game anyways. I think that was... I will say I didn't like it, but I chalk it more up to writing than I do necessarily the voice acting.
Okay. All right, let's move right along on to Max Pass, which is now available as of today,
As today.
at Asgard. No, for Phantasmic and World of Color.
Yes.
Thoughts?
I think it's a great idea. I did see someone say that they're not normally in the parks until 5, so it's a great addition. But Max Pass
Once
does...
they're out, they're out.
Well, Max Pass does only work
when you're in the parks.
When you're in the parks. So you cannot reserve it from outside of the park. So
Yep.
I do think it's a great addition, though, especially because it just adds to the mobile ordering food and the Max Pass that's already there. If you're across the park or what have you, you can still make that selection. You don't have to go, I need to get to Rivers of America, even though it's way out of our plan for the day. I think it's awesome.
Well, and if you're in DCA to start the day,
Yeah.
you can do it that way
Yeah,
as well.
definitely.
DCA to start the day.
Sorry for the microphones on that one.
Like
The moment I did that, I'm like, oh, that
Regret!
probably was not good. All right, so I think that's a good addition, and they keep adding more and more to the app and Max Pass, and I think that adds value, and it'll be good. Let's move on to some studio news.
Studio news.
Quite a few things were unveiled this week, mainly today.
Yeah.
Both Rich Moore and Kenny Ortega are leaving the Walt Disney Company, with Moore going to Sony Pictures and Kenny Ortega heading to Netflix. What do you think about this?
These times they are changing.
Yeah. Why do you think suddenly it's all happening at once, other than the fact that they just bought a massive studio?
Well, the biggest thing with Sony Pictures is, and it gets brought up in the article, is they have just proven that they are very willing to listen to creative direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Yeah.
They just did that. It was a huge monument to when you listen to creatives, amazing things happen. And I don't know what the culture is like at Disney, but I think that that's a huge selling point.
Well, there's uncertainty at Disney, I would assume, because with every merger comes layoffs.
Yeah. And with Kenny Ortega going to Netflix, apparently they're going to be doing more Netflix original musicals.
Yeah.
So they've pulled Kenny Ortega for choreographing, directing, producing. And I saw that Netflix actually also pulled someone from Pixar who was a producer. So
That was almost a year ago, I think, right?
still,
Yeah.
I just think it's really interesting how they've been kind of acquiring some key players. And it's very interesting to see what's going to happen.
It's the other companies being very, very smart and reading the lay of the land.
Definitely.
I completely agree with you that Sony just proved themselves. I don't think they would have been able to pull anybody without Spider-Verse.
Oh, I agree completely.
It was such a huge and unexpected win for them from a creative perspective, that to be able to draw good people to them.
Yeah.
Netflix is tripling down at this point on proving that they're an original content powerhouse. I think that is the right choice for them, because
They have to.
They have to compete with Disney now.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done a huge amount for relevancy, just being competitive in a lot of the award shows, throwing millions of dollars at those. I think this is just the next step in that.
So in terms of streaming platforms, what is your platform of choice currently?
Netflix.
Amazon Prime, weirdly.
Really? I
actually
haven't
have been
used
leaning
it.
more
Yeah.
and more that way too.
Yeah, and that's only recently. It's up until this point, it's been, I would say, stronger Netflix. Hulu for stuff that's coming out more recently if I really want to catch up on it, but more often Netflix. But then recently Prime has added a couple of things I've really enjoyed, specifically the Grand Tour. That's been fantastic. Also, some of their backlog is really, really good. They have the entirety of Stargate SG-1 on there, and a ton of other really good shows. And I think their selection is more conducive to my preferences, at least
It's
right
an
now.
interesting selection because it really almost feels like somebody's sitting there like, I like that one and that one, whereas Netflix kind of has
Curation.
definite like, oh, well, there's this group of
Here at Netflix, we have two teams, documentaries and everything else.
you forgot the reality TV one.
Oh, that's in documentaries.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I think it's interesting because Hulu's become more interesting to me in recent months as they've added, like, I think they added all, is that where they added the James Bond movies I saw?
I believe so.
And a few Marvel movies have popped up there. And I'm really curious how all of this changes as Disney Plus, which we'll get details about later this week, comes out later this year. And it's kind of sad because a lot of stuff is leaving Netflix that was go-to, like the Star Wars animated shows are all gone now, and
And all the a lot of Marvel movies.
a lot of
have
Marvel
disappeared.
movies and Disney ones are going to disappear as well. And so it'll be really interesting once all of that is gone to see what demographic goes where.
And
I think
I
they're going to have
that's really the answer to it. Is it's not so much who's going to have more power, it is what each one is going to choose to cater to.
It'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see what the segmentations for it all goes. With all these changes, also, Disney just acquired a ton of properties. And so we started talking about this, was it last week? And the Fox properties in the parks. So I'm curious, now that you've had a week to think about it, which probably none of us did, but
We had
We're
a very
prepared.
long drive to think.
We're prepared.
that is true. What Fox property do you think is going to be first in the park? Because I am going to go with the assumption that when you spend that much money on a studio, you're going to want to get every penny you possibly can. I'm also going to go with the trend that think of how quickly Pixar, they purchase Pixar, it's in the parks. They purchase Marvel, it's in the parks. They purchase Lucasfilm, it's in the parks. It's just a matter of time and where some Fox property or properties are going to end up in the parks. So who feels like leading off?
I do. Okay. I think I'm not that educated, but that's how I start every sentence. I think
That is a good
I was
way
going to
get
comment
people
about
listen
it.
to you.
I was gonna just bring it up, and then nope, too easy.
yeah, no, it's okay. I'll set that joke up for myself, and I'll knock it out of the park. But I think that with the superhero themed campus, I think we will see previously not Disney owned Marvel superheroes popping up.
Didn't we agree that X-Men was off the table the last time we talked about this?
We did,
Because
yeah.
otherwise, I would say X-Men.
I think
too.
you're actually right. We're going to see
completely
Marvel
agree.
characters.
I don't know that it's going to be X-Men. I think that it might be Deadpool won't be there.
Fantastic Four.
Maybe.
I think Fantastic Four is dead. They have beaten that dead horse.
They have.
I think it is, but they keep going back for it. And that was in the interview where Kevin Feige said the next 5 years, we're not touching X-Men. He did not mention Fantastic Four. And that's the one everybody's been talking
I
about.
wouldn't be surprised if there's either allusions to that in Endgame or if in the early films of the next segment
I
we
think
see
it's
some of
possible.
that stuff.
I'm not saying it's a great idea, but I think it's possible. I'm also going to take Avatar off the table because it's already in
I
there.
agree.
Yes.
Yeah, I do have other options.
Please do.
I was
Zach, go to
thinking
mine,
one of
but-
two different ways. The one, this is me wishing, and I still think they might do it, but it's more wishing, as they continue to offer more adult options. I could see California Adventure hosting some form of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Because, I mean, I could see them Disneyfying that experience. I think that's a little bit more off base for them necessarily, but I could see it in the next 5-10 years trying something like that. I mean, you think about the cult following that a Rocky Horror Picture Show showing has. I could see them trying to put a Disney spin
Wouldn't
on
that
that.
ruin the cult following?
Absolutely, yeah, no, it'd kill it.
Okay.
But that's not the point. I think they do it.
I think it would only happen after Bob Iger is gone.
Well, I agree with that, but I think that's
I
in
think
the
as
future.
long as Bob Iger's around, there's not
First
a chance
one.
of that happening.
First one I see happening is an answer to Toontown, maybe on the California Adventure side if we're talking West Coast. That is the animation throwdown of the Fox properties, specifically Family Guy, American Dad, Bob's Burgers, all of those collectively. I could see them throwing those properties into some kind of Foxland that would just be those animated properties kind of contained in one area. Again, a bit more adult themed, but I think that they could keep that in cadence pretty well because they did that with Simpsons over at Universal Studios. I could see them doing something similar with those properties here.
I'm going to counter that. I think your principle is right. Your properties are wrong. I think they would go with Alvin and the Chipmunks, and I think they would keep it younger. And I think you'd also see Ice Age could be going.
Well, they had Rio and all of those as well.
There's a lot of more family-friendly things, and one of the things Bob Iger has been very specific about is that Disney will still remain Disney, and I don't think they would put the more adult content into the parks in that way. He said he wants to maintain the I don't know if the value is the word to put, but the expectation that when you go and see a Disney movie, when you go to a Disney experience, you're still going to get the same experience. So I don't know that doesn't mean they couldn't do a new kind of theme park that's not Disney, because Fox actually, I believe, through the years has explored theme parks.
They've pitched it
and
many times.
I think overseas mostly, but that's a possibility if we were going to go with animated stuff. I think Chronicles of Narnia could potentially be revisited again. I would have zero interest in it. It just seems like it's one of those things that just never goes away, kind of like Fantastic Four.
The metaphors.
I think
Night
they
at the
could
Museum.
serialize that. Night at the Museum, I could see
think
them
could
doing
be
something with.
really fun. I don't know what you'd necessarily do with
You build a museum.
Yeah, there you go.
It'd be cool.
Or it could be I don't know, it could be some sort of an experience.
Does it go the original route for Haunted Mansion when it was supposed to be a walk around?
It's true.
Build a museum, do something like that.
Well, I could see them building a museum a la Guardians of the Galaxy entrance a little bit longer. So the line is you going through the museum, the ride is the museum coming to life.
That would be
fun.
That would be very cool. Yeah. Those are the ones that popped into my head as I was looking at the lists. There's other things that you could probably connect to at some level. I just don't know, because they actually, Fox was Planet of the Apes, and I feel like that's something they could use at some level because that's made a ton of money.
I only accept the Heston version.
Well, yeah, that's
You blew it up!
that's the real one.
Get your stinking paws out.
We didn't talk about Anastasia either. I don't know that. I think that ship has sailed,
I agree.
but it keeps getting brought up also.
You're talking about nostalgia versus marketability. That Disney knows the value of nostalgia.
Yeah.
But, and it's a big but, I don't think that Anastasia has that hold for them to be able to pull enough money out of it.
I think it was nice, but it wasn't ever a massive hit. The whole point was this isn't Disney and it's good. I think was really its appeal. If I could have my way, moving into Fox properties, I would love to see MASH utilized because why not? Or isn't How I Met Your Mother Fox? Yeah. It's on the list too.
Just yellow umbrellas everywhere.
Yeah, I think you do some fun stuff. I don't know. Maybe somewhere else, but
It's already in the park. They just took him out of streaming. It's
you're right.
I was gonna say,
that's
do you
what it
remember
is.
the Tony Stark suit experience?
Yes.
It's the Barney Stinson suit up experience.
Oh.
Slaps giving every year.
Actually, it could just be a store in downtown Disney.
If Barney had a suit store that wasn't Barney's, because that's funny, I would go there immediately and just go look at the diamond suit because I'm sure they'd have it on display in the center of the store.
Downtown Disney is where some of these things could show up that perhaps aren't as park friendly, especially when you think of things like The Void.
Yeah.
They have Alien is now in their...
Scary. Spooky.
There's some other property. I mean, that actually could... A lot of things can go in there.
Well, there is already an Alien Void experience. I don't think it's owned by Void, but there is a VR licensed experience in the same vein as Void. That's actually
that is true. It's over in Florida or something, right?
Oh, no, well, no, it's available here. Actually, it's opening very soon, I believe, over at the block.
It's already gone.
Is it? Well, it was there and gone. Point is
that good, huh?
the tech exists. Like, it's been done.
I saw them taking the sign down the other day. And I went,
I didn't even know it was here already. Okay. I remember hearing it was coming somewhere, and I don't. Okay.
Yeah, it was there for, I want to say at least 6 months.
Yeah.
For a good amount of time.
Okay. I mean, they could do a Home Alone experience.
No one's going to the block for VR, I think is the problem. When you're at a Disney park, you're ready for a virtual reality experience.
I
Total
want to
side
play
note.
that Void.
No.
You order a large cheese pizza.
Home Alone is a
That's
dark film series.
Oh, it is.
It is dark.
is
Go
very
back and
dark.
watch it again.
Yeah.
It is really dark.
And we watched it every Thanksgiving for years. That would be fun. Miracle on 34th Street is owned by Fox too, and I think that's a really interesting. I mean, I don't know what you do with it, but I love
you theme the Grand Californian Santa meet and greet a bit a bit more around that.
Yeah, I mean,
And everything's in black and white. It's really weird.
Black and white Santa would be a cool cosplay. Oh, I want to do that.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
So it'll be interesting to see what comes in the parks.
Yes.
How long do you think it's going to take?
A year for an announcement.
You don't. I almost wonder if we'll hear something at D23 this summer.
That's what I was thinking. I think it'll take a year to show up. Like, I think a year from now, we will have already seen Fox properties up here.
I think with the lineup of Galaxy's Edge, Marvel opening up, and then a couple of other things they're working on right now, I think it'll take a little bit longer to actually show up. I could be wrong, but
I'm going to guess 2021.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Final topic for tonight that we're going to hit very quickly, and I'm going to let Cameron lead off on this, is Cameron wrote an article on Disney Parks Hacks a few weeks ago.
Parks Hacks is a really
That is
hard
really hard to
combination.
say.
It was hard to type.
I was really regretting writing it
Parks
down
Hacks.
here. I was like, oh, this is hard. Anyway, Cameron, would you give the premise of this and tease it a little bit and then share about your favorite?
Well, I wanted to be hip and cool like all of the other sites, so I decided to yeet this article right on out. It's very simply put a listicle of hacks that you can use at the Disney parks, involving several things that the other folks won't tell you.
Okay.
Sorry.
And your favorite one was?
The main reason for writing this article was to rant about balloons.
Okay, good. So go check that article out. I'm going to hit Twitter because I'm noticing we're running out of time. It
Don't
looks
do
like
that to
there's good
Twitter.
stuff
What did
here.
they do to you? Don't get me started.
Mike says, not to be a bummer, but how are preparations going for Cameron's Gravy Skittles Challenge?
It's talked about near constantly, and I'm not happy.
Maybe you're here next week, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you could make gravy, I'll make gravy. You'll
I'll make
make
Skittles.
gravy.
I'm kidding. I'll make gravy.
You'll make gravy.
Yeah.
Who else is good at making gravy? Like, I feel like we need 4 or 5 different... Can you make gravy? You want to make gravy? You're going to make gravy.
Maddie might make gravy.
Maddie can make gravy. There's 5 different gravies because
Okay.
5 is the number of Geeks Corner, and that
It's
will be fantastic.
True. 5 gravies.
So 5 gravies, 5 types of Skittles.
Are there even 5 types of Skittles?
There has to be.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
chocolate Skittles. There's sour Skittles.
No!
Tropical Skittles.
I used to prank
Original.
people with those. You mix in M&M's with Skittles, call them Skims. It's the worst. You don't do that.
Original Skittles. And I think there's
sour
another
ones.
type.
Did you say the sour
Yeah,
ones?
I said chocolate,
Oh.
sour, tropical, original.
What about the new ones? I just saw them in the store.
The Oops camera doesn't have to do the Skittles?
No.
Oh, I love those.
Well, if enough people...
And then more chocolate Skittles. Yeah.
Now, I hope you understand the gentleman's agreement of what's happening here. I'm going to do this because it has been challenged to me.
Yeah.
But then we're throwing it back.
But then I get to pick what's next.
Yeah.
Like, that is...
You know, it goes to Florida, though, right?
What's that?
It goes to Florida.
Oh, it goes to Florida, yeah.
It goes.
I know who the instigator of this crime is.
All right, more Twitter. Mike says, I don't believe many, if any, Fox IPs will be a part of Disney parks. I think that Disney will trade rights from Marvel characters in Orlando and other Disney parks. I like that idea a lot.
That's
Yeah.
really smart,
And,
yeah.
and I hope you're right.
Because that they can make a deal with Universal where like you get to keep Simpsons in your parks.
But money,
Just
please.
Give us
your money. All that you got.
Bailey says, if they hadn't made Pixar Pure, they should have made Wonder Wharf with Bob's Burgers.
I want to win a mammoth on roller skates. You don't know what we're talking about, do you?
I was gonna say,
And
but
then
then it'd be
talking
scary.
about How I Met Your Mother and Barney's Suits, Bailey also says, oh, that's a smart idea. I'm assuming this was when we were talking about the store.
Yes.
Oh, and then every hour there is a musical recreation of Nothing Suits Me Like a Suit.
Nothing suits me like a suit.
Thank you. I was not going to do that.
He started it, and I was gonna repeat it, and then I just had to start singing.
I had the thought, I'm like, I wonder if I can remember it completely, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to try.
The line, but I'd rather be dressed to the nines, is one of the best turn lines in the history of music. It's so good.
Bailey also says, so since this is a thing, I got to get the Skittles in the mail by this weekend, ? Yes, sooner the better, because it'll be next Tuesday night live on this show.
What is our P.O. box?
I was gonna say, I don't know off the top of my head what our PO box is, but
It's changing very soon.
it is gonna be changing very soon because our post office is closing. Anyway, we're not getting into that. After you send the Skittles, please DM me. That way I can go to the locker and go get Skittles.
All right. Let's wrap this thing up.
You should go to thegeekscorner.com. That is thegeekscorner.com. You're probably there already watching this now, but unbeknownst to you is a catalog, a verisimilitude of episodes involving us.
Smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord. You should go to dapsmagic.com.
Skittles.
Check out all the Skittles.
Remember that flow thing?
My turn.
Anyway, check out all the Disney and Geek News as it happens. Find our P.O. box, send us Skittles, and find our Patreon.
And also subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can find more of our videos that we're trying to post as often as we possibly can. Make sure to watch that DAPS vlog from over the weekend because you'll see some very fun, interesting, and weird things. Right? Yeah. And that's all the time we have for you this week, so we will see you around the corner.
Bye!